Greetings and welcome to a Friday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is January 24th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. I'm just having a morning that you would really be into.
Okay, what's that?
I had a little granola this morning, a little yogurt with granola, and then I hit the e-bike. I took the e-bike for a spin.
Come on.
Yeah.
Love that.
Just thought you just love that.
Just living up there, granola country, play into the stereotype. I love it. You got to get it out now because those opportunities are afforded you next week. We're going to let's be true blue swamp creatures just mucking around down there. Maybe go to Chili's. What is that? Chili's or Applebee's right there in Jupiter, the one on the corner. I forget what chain restaurant it is. Chili's, something. We get really, really into the swamp life. PJ, you're coming.
Send restaurant Rex. We'll probably go to Lucky Shuck. You know,
absolutely.
The woods. Can we
I guess we should probably play the hits. If you've never been to the woods, I
would like to at least see the woods. Visual confirmation of what's going on in there. We don't have to eat, but I would like to touch base.
We'll go
for the content, not the culinary experience. How about that?
We got Tuesday and Wednesday night. You know.
Okay.
TGL, I don't know. Do you think we get food at the stadium on Monday night? Is that what we do?
I think
at the SoFi Dome.
Just the $15 craft cocktail or whatever. SoFi Dome. There are so many. There's a lot of content. I've honestly got some feedback from people who are impartial. They said the in-arena thing is cool. Or whatever it is. I mean, now there's 15 people there. It can get invited. It's a small crowd, but they said it was cool and they're open to working on it. Let's start with Friday.
I can't wait to cheer on my ball frogs. I'm not going to be a partial media member. I'm going to be there as a fan.
Oh, did you get the email then today?
What?
Did you get a ball frogs email today? I don't know if someone signed me up for the Boston
No,
Common
I got an LAGC email.
Oh. I got your team.
I almost tweeted about it. Not my team.
Your team is Boston Common Golf. I don't know where this came from or why I got it.
I think it's from when we did the picker
at 1:01 p.m.
Picker.
It said, "Welcome to your team. It's Boston. What else would you expect but pure grit? You don't just show up, you take over. Winning, it's a habit. And when you win, you don't keep it quiet." I mean, that's another way of saying you're an asshole. And when you win, you don't keep it quiet. You celebrate like a true Boston fan.
Or a masshole.
Resilience? That's the name of the game. You thrive in those nail-biting last-second moments. Here, you're with the people who get it, who feel every shot, every victory, just like you. This isn't just golf, it's passion. It's Boston Common Golf. Welcome to winning.
I mean, I agree with the last sentence. I think Boston Common Golf's about to run roughshod over this league.
This, combined with the Cleeks rebrand, just had me sort of my head in my hands, like disconsolate. I just...
Well, do you want me to throw you the LA one? What the LA one says?
Yeah, please.
Like I just opened it up. I hadn't opened it up yet, so...
Read the marketing.
Well,
I mean,
welcome
I can't
to your team.
God, okay.
LA's got the culture, and you've got the style. Athletic, modern, forward-thinking. You're built for the city. Innovation? That's your game on and off the course. You love keeping it fresh, just like LA's mix of outdoor action and Hollywood flair. From the streets to the greens, you're always ahead of the curve, ready to rep the city of Los Angeles. Let's go. If you haven't seen our schedule, check it out here and be sure.
That's the only real salient point. Jupiter Links got sent to the golf advice email. Did we sign up to
that? Let's hear that.
Welcome to your team. Coastal chill, always. Competitive fire, you better believe it. Repping Jupiter Links GC means you know how to balance a good time with serious game. I didn't see the serious game week one. I saw the good time.
Well, Tom Kim's coming in.
Sure.
They got Tom Kim playing next week.
We make sure everyone's in on the act.
Kissers got benched. Have those lineups been announced yet? Oh, this is inside intel.
Oh my God, you got inside info. Breaking news. You're beating. All right.
Breaking news. TGL Insider here. Kisner's been put on the bench. Tom Kim is coming in.
We make sure everyone's in on the action. I thought inclusivity was out these days. We don't just show up, we show out. Our fans don't just watch, they fuel the fire. It sounds like they want the fans to get involved with throwing bottles on the field. What's going on? Our logo, a nod to Tiger's signature and signature color. Whether it's a hard-fought win or an epic sunset, we always aim for legendary. Welcome to the team. Bring that energy! ! Coastal chill and competitive.
That was
fire.
much longer than my Atlanta Drive email. My Atlanta Drive email.
That's gonna be.
We're gonna get like 4 sentences.
Hey, can I point out something?
Yeah.
Jupiter fans do show out. That's your long-standing belief of the Honda Classic. What happens on that bus on the way back?
They mix the coastal chill and competitive fire. They fuel the fire, they say.
B, aren't the better sunsets in LA? Sunrises are great in Jupiter. That's when it comes up over the ocean. I don't want to nitpick here, but
it's a fair question.
It seems like something that somebody should have caught.
I mean,
or the Bay. The Bay might have the best sunsets.
Fair. I would hope these are AI generated, but I don't think they are. I think some marketing companies billing through the nose, like the Cleeks rebrand. You got that video last night where everybody needs to see Adrian Marunk taking his shower. Thank God we got that. Bad sip of water time. Why did we? What is the point of these golf marketing videos? We got Blocky in the shower last year at Valhalla. Just. Why? We don't need to see these people in the shower. It was a nice video, actually. I enjoyed the video. I thought it was a classy video. I forgot Freddie Ketchup was on there. And I don't know. I've not been in the business forever, but it just feels like you got to build something before you market it with all this bullshit. Like you have to worry about the actual thing. Like what are the cliques? What are the Jupiter links? What I'm saying right now? But you just go to a marketing agency, and whether it's the cliques, whether it's TGL, they're kind of selling you the same goods. And I don't know if it's better or worse. I think I'd feel better if they just used AI, because then at least you're not paying through the nose for the same bullshit. Like I noticed the cliques rebrand email talked about how they were redefining. Our favorite word, redefining the future, refreshed tradition, redefining the future. Like, it's got to be a chatbot at this point. You have to build something. You can't do it. You can't just do it with all the marketing speak, the nice curtains at the front of the house. There's got to be something in the house, and that's been golf's real problem. Golf media, certain media brands,
not
too.
Golf's. Hold on. I think this always needs to be prefaced. Not golf's problem, pro golf's problem.
Pro golf's problem.
Because the substance of the actual game of golf, there's plenty is wonderful. The product of just recreational golf is great.
Yeah. Yep. We get Adrian Marunk in the shower. And then they're walking on some mountain. It was a cool video. I thought it was actually a good video. I just let's think about it for a minute. What are we talking about? You have to also have the cool video that's promoting something built or something.
You know what I like, actually? I love?
What?
I love that I get emails about LAGC when I'm a Ball Frog fan. There is nowhere for me to pick. This is my team.
Actual
the
team.
Quiz has now dictated my marketing emails.
That's funny.
PJ's a New York fan.
Atlanta, though, right?
What's your Atlanta Drive emails?
You've got the drive. The drive to succeed. The drive to be the best. Atlanta is at the crossroads of culture between entertainment, sports, and music, and you love all three. It's 365, 24/7 in Atlanta, and you live that mindset. It doesn't matter if it's pro or college. You like all sports and embrace all communities. When I think 24/7, 365, I think Patrick Cantlay. I don't know about you guys.
This is just detached from the real world. I mean, if you're a real person, you got this email and you opened it and weren't anything but amused, then got something going on upstairs. I don't know.
The Billy clip's getting a lot of play about him saying the producers told us to keep it close.
I mean, come on. That's clearly just like the producer was giving him a bit. Like, people are they're acting in bad faith when they say, like, oh, this is all rigged and they want us to gamble on it. Like, obviously, they're not trying to, like, manufacture it. It was a joke from the producer, and Billy said it as a joke on the broadcast. People just acting in bad faith, trying to stir up shit around that.
Opposing coaches, if they had a player that was on the their team, often will say something like, "Hey, take it easy on us." Nobody freaks out about that. If said player has a bad game, nobody's like, "Hey,
yeah,
I think this guy took it easy on them."
It was just obviously a joke. Let's go to listener submission Friday. We're going to get to golf advice, but these aren't salient, substantiated rumors or takes or feedback. We're on TGL. I might as well add this. I can't believe we're talking this much TGL at the top. This is from Andy Collins.
Not every day that you get emails like that.
This is from somebody named Andy Collins. Interesting email. I'm sure we'll go in the TGL market research document. So as a parallel, I've noticed back in the mid-90s, skateboarding began being broadcast via the X Games. These early TGL broadcasts feel like that. I think he's referring to Matt Berry. Back then, the amount of mistakes made with trick names and what was actually hard versus what looked hard on TV or what got the crowd fired up was innumerable. You could have fooled me. I didn't know anything. I still don't, actually. However, as time went on, things got better. Of course, that was Tony Hawk doing amazing shit, a la Tiger with green grass golf. But it did get better. As a diehard skateboarder for 30 years, it's still hard to watch mainstream coverage of a niche activity, but most of the time it's at least discussed correctly. I'm hoping the same for TGL. Now, one would hope that with the decades of history that golf has in mainstream media, that they'd have a bit of a head start. But TGL is stuck in a weird purgatory of trying to be both the WWE and the NBA at the same time. In reality, it's professional bowling. This is Andy's assessment, Andy Collins. It needs to build tension and decision-making. And ironically, the shot clock hurts this. Thought about that. We don't want to put the genie back in the bottle. Pace is great. It's really fast, but it doesn't move too fast. Are we talking out of both sides of our mouths when we suggest this?
I think some of the issue is the broadcast.
Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, how many times do you really have tense indecision moments in golf? It's not that often. Right? It's not like it's 142 yards. I'm grabbing my wedge and I'm hitting the shot. Like, it's not a hard decision.
Right.
Like, there aren't a ton of moments where you're going to have that huge tension. I don't know. I think one of the things is like, do we have the right number of golf holes right now?
It should be fewer.
I 15. Definitely don't think it should be more.
The one thing we hear is that they're like, not from them directly, but others, like, they're pretty open to feedback. And like, now, I mean, does that mean it should be out there yet? I don't know if we're just gonna nip and tuck and change a lot. I don't know. The X Games parallel intrigued me, I suppose, like, where that's been my point, is like, I don't know what this is. What is this thing? Wild. This is crazy. What's in front of me right now? And like, there was no probably broadcast manual to how you broadcast this thing that's never existed before. Now he says, golf has been around for a while, but I think that's the point. It's something, an entirely new product. All right, let's get to something a little more whimsical. This is from Robert. Substantiated rumor. I caught Blocky. Who doesn't need a little January Blocky?
Substantiated.
I caught Blocky in the wild today.
I saw something with Blocky. Blocky got Blocky got into the Eamon Seth Waugh interview we're going to talk about later.
Oh, yeah. He gets into everything. He gets into everything. Caught Blocky in the wild.
No way.
I caught Blocky in the wild today. A big influencer filming going on at Mesa Country Club. Jolie D, Blocky, and Good. So this must have been before they announced it, where they were filming. I just had a moment with Blocky. Blocky was getting photos taken in the walkway when I'm trying to leave, so I'm waiting for him out of courtesy. The photographer asks him to smile, and he's like, "We got to let this guy walk past me." Then he says, "I got to get some veneers before I smile for this dude. I look like an effing, someone who doesn't have a home." So I'm fascinated by so this emailer says, "So I'm fascinated by the content factory and go hit balls next to them." Blocky comes up and is giving swing advice to one of the good guys, prefaced by, "So when I play on tour, I do this." Pretty good. Blocky. He's kind of a tour player at this point. I think there's grounds for saying, "When I play on tour, I do this." He's had enough reps. He's instructing the good boys.
No way.
That's your Friday reader submissions. There's a million of them. We'll get to more. Speaking of Blocky in Southern California, he should have been on the ready on his motorbike yesterday because he could have, zipped down from Arroyo Trabuco. They do not have a full field at the Farmers Insurance Open. They have 155 players.
This is crazy.
It's bad. Total mess. Don't have people, don't have bodies. All we hear about is his playing opportunities and people would kill for a spot. We've got Garrick Higo, WD mid-round in the Bahamas to then backfill spots at Farmers. We've just got the stars falling like flies, whether it's Morikawa, Xander, Shaw, like all those players, Højgaard, all those guys. And then you have sort of the backfiller's not around, right? I mean, there's no one to fill. Like, we don't have a replacement yet. Ryan Moore out, no replacement yet. At one point,
you know what they should do in these cases, special cases? There should be a coinciding mule day nearby where they bring all the mules in for like a $5,000.
Who's paying for that? They're paying? They're traveling?
Yeah,
on their own dime.
Give them their like $5,000 pro-am or whatever they do.
Oh, like the Monday, the pro-am, the second pro-am.
That way you got guys like Brent Grant around that can always fill in.
So Woodland and Zalatoris bounced morning of. A lot of DFS community furious about the Woodland deal because I guess that was like after lineups had locked. Like the WD in time to have a replacement, but not before the betting markets were locked or DFS market.
None of our betting locks withdrew. Right?
No, I don't think so. Zalatoris then WD was replaced by Bob Garrigus after Ryan Moore, the original Zalatoris. You know where Ryan Moore is right now?
Where?
He's on the floor of the PGA show.
Oh my God.
So that's why he couldn't fill Zalatoris' spot that eventually went to Robert Garrigus. I bet that actually
was a huge conflict.
I mean, think about what you just said.
Honestly, I think that they probably some brand paid him like $20,000 to show up.
Well, I think
their agent's probably like, you can't back out of this.
So you have Bob Garrigus who could win at any time. Just give him the chance. He's in. What's he doing, PJ? Where's Robert Garrigus? Who just needs a chance? Just needs a swing and a prayer. Where is he at?
I'm looking for Farmers. him. The bottom of this board is interesting. Grumpy Griot's.
Garrigus is 1 under. So he's 1 under today, even for his round. Sorry, the Google leaderboard is terrible when you just Google somebody's name.
Yeah, don't do Google. Everything's regressing on the internet, especially Google.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are we worried about Max Homa?
No.
I don't know. Jupiter Lynx fan. Are you worried?
Classy gesture with his LAFD hat and the shoes. Like, I like that. I love seeing that from Max. Just a good human being. I think he just had it's a really bad start, kind of a big blow up at the start. I don't know. I'm not.
He's 48 in the world. He was like 5 this time last year. What was he? This time last year, he was 8th in the world.
I'll tell you what. He's been a massive credit to those team events. The last 2 Peak Cups and a Ryder Cup. I'd love to see him make Bethpage, but I don't know. 48th in the world. You really got to get on your horse. Are you worried about him?
I am.
What is he in the event now? I know he started with the disaster. He's
9
next
over.
to DFL essentially. Nate Lashley, who's always arguing for spots. WD, that's a shame.
God, this field is bad. This is the worst Torrey field I've ever seen.
It is. You opened with a 7, Homa did on the South course, and it was he went out in 41 from there on. With an eagle. 41 with an eagle. That's hard. That's hard to do. 41 with an eagle. So at one point yesterday,
cucumbers out there.
This is the snapshot. 12:35 Eastern on Wednesday. Alternates were Ted Purdy, Neil Lancaster.
I mean, this is an opposite field.
I mean, I don't know if they're on site. This is where we were.
Neil Lancaster
on the alternate list. Ted Purdy, Neil Lancaster. This is from a tweet from Tall Tim Kaz at 12:35. Tweeted at us. Neil Lancaster, Eric Axley, Derek Ernst, Jeff Overton, and Omar Uresti. We're our alternate list at 12:35. We did not get 156 players in the field. We ended up with 155 thanks to the additional run of WD's day of the first round that included Woodland and Zalatoris. I mean, this is a mess. It's an embarrassment for the tour. There's all sorts of conspiracy theories about, does this mean our guys WDing because they don't want to play it twice in 4 weeks because of why play this when you could just take a week off and play the no cut event? Not all these guys are qualified. Woodland's not qualified. It just is kind of a black eye if you're the tour, if you're the title sponsor. They've got their own stuff to worry about and they're bailing anyways. But if you're San Diego, you're a tournament organizer, it's just kind of a circus. And that was the hook. That was the news of the first, that's the headline is they can't
fill a field.
Yeah. The body's in, out, revolving door. And this is a pretty proud historic event, whatever you think of Torrey Pines.
That's the thing. That's what's crazy to me is 7 years ago, this was this was all the best player. I feel like I distinctly remember writing a Fried Egg newsletter that was 9 of the top 10 players in the world are at Torrey, 18 of the top 20 in the world are at Torrey. I mean, this was the spot to start the year.
Yeah.
And now it's nothing.
They bend over backwards to kind of change the schedule so you're not up against conference championships. And for what? No, it's fine. It's good Saturday night programming, but still. Your Hayden Springer is your early leader as we record this, along with Ludwig Aberg, who apparently called it his favorite place in the world. According to an Associated Press gamer.
Him and John Rahm could talk about it in foursomes at the Ryder Cup. Bethpage.
These young Euros have just been Torrey pilled. They're into it. Into the Torrey Pines pilled. They're into it. Ludwig.
I mean,
if
I was Ludwig, I'd love this place too. You just blast it off the tee.
A big showing for the burly South African, the portly pot guider. He's 5 under. He's got to stay on the pace, though. The rookie making his debut.
I'm kind of disappointed in you. I don't feel like you've been on the ball last 2 weeks.
Why? What happened?
I'm just scrolling around on this leaderboard.
You're gonna jam me about
the great one is off and running on the PGA Tour.
I'm monitoring.
T43 last week. He's sitting in T18 this week. The great one is Mateo Manacero. I mean, back where he belongs, where everybody thought he'd be.
He's
just
a world
10 years
player.
later.
He's a top flight, world-class player. The guy's in Dubai doing this Team Cup deal. Goes straight to Palm Springs, immediate. New tour, immediate dividends. Then he's in San Diego, immediate top 20, right into it. Right into the fray. Don't talk to me about what?
What are you saving him for? What event are you eyeing him? Where do you think the pick question. Is for Mateo this year?
That's a good question.
For one and done.
Maybe Vedanta could just go down there and make hay.
I feel like bombers do well at Vedanta.
They do. I know. I'm worried about. I was going to say Colonial or something like that. Maybe.
I don't think he'll get into Colonial. I don't think
that's
got
ridiculous.
Enough
it's an invitational. I know.
Harbor Town he can't get into.
No.
What about John Deere?
No. That's just unbecoming of such a links master to be in Silvis the week before the Open.
2 weeks before, I think. Now,
whatever
right?
It is. Guy should be in Europe in July. Get out of here with that. But it could. Maybe that's the option. Oh, maybe he's like Sammy Valimaki. It goes down to Mexico.
Should there be a rule that the three of us all have to take Mateo in one?
Yes, in the one and done leagues. I think I like that rule. Mateo, apparently, someone sent us this tip that Team Cup, Tom McKibben, they were asking about the rumors, and he said, out of respect for Justin Rose, the captain, I'm not going to comment on about that. And you recall, Justin Rose was the original out of respect. Anma was the original out of respect for Mr. Palmer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on my equipment.
That's when he was number one in the world.
It's come full circle for McKibben, who's given Justin Rose the out of respect.
Did you see who's rumbling around at Torrey?
No, who?
Our guy Pot Guider.
Yeah. Oh, we just said that.
Sorry, I was looking at something else. I was looking at the leaderboard.
You were ready to get me with Manacero, and I was talking to you about Paca. You're like two ships passing in the night.
I can't do two things at once.
It's a miracle this podcast even gets off the ground the way we operate.
Legitimately have no capabilities of doing two things at once.
Oh, Pot Guider is he's rumbling around top 5. His South African countryman though, Dick Sterney, could see it just kind of muddling along, not playing up to snuff at Russell Kima.
What's South going Africans on with the game within the game?
I'm more worried about. I mean, the Bullet in the Marcus trio, beating up on Marcus Shinholt. He's 9 under. He made 11 birdies in round 1 at Russell Kima, the Alhambra golf course.
Bob Carlson 2 over. My guy did not.
Padraig Harrington. Top
Sterney's 5. 1 under. Let's see where Coetzee is. Coetzee is 1 over. It's a tight ball game.
They're all in there. They're all mixing it up. Martin Trainer's DFL 82. They don't take kindly to socialism in the Middle East, I don't think. And so he's 82, 10 over.
What's Fratelli doing? We need him to get back to the Rolex events this year.
1 under. He's 1 under. Dylan Fratelli.
Pick off one of these.
Let's get to our friends at Club TFE. That's us.
Is that us?
That's us. Hey, there's some rumblings. We released our member guest, announced it. It's selling well, right? I mean, I think it might be sold out by the time we ever post this podcast. But that is one opportunity. It might be sold out
right now.
Annual member guest. We do 2 sometimes. I think we did 2 in a year last year, but there will be one. This is at a primo spot on Long Island. If you're a member, you can register for it. And we also maybe provide other golf opportunities in the area if we can set that up for you. Long Island's a good spot for that. So it's access to events like this. There's member-only events like Preview Play at Broom's Edge in South Carolina coming up.
Broom's Edge. Everybody says Broom's Edge. It's Broom's Edge. It's a big topic. amongst the people.
Are you going to become a pronunciation pedant now? Like you of all people?
I just had to respect my broom sedge people. I had to correct it because it's been a huge issue. A huge issue with that everybody says broom's edge instead of broom sedge.
Well, down there, that's our first event. Down there on the edge of the brooms. That's our first club event. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to antagonize. They're very good people, friends of the program. Broom sedge is our first. So there's experiences like that in Club TFE. It's $120 for the year. We also get lots of content. We got the blog humming again. We opened up comments on the new Stream Sun course.
New LaHinch profile just went up.
Did it go up? All right. From guest contributor. Dara Garahy, legend of Dublin, friend of the program. So yeah, it's a lot of good content, but also you get those experience, a lot of club events only, and it supports our work. It's money that kind of goes back into being able to provide more for you guys, whether it's setting up events, setting up content, more merchandise, other things. You go to Club TFE, again, just $120 for the entire year to support our work, and you get a lot out of there, in my opinion. All right. Do you want to jump? Where do we want to go? You want to go to the Seth Waugh interview?
Yeah.
From Eamon Lynch's.
There's some biting comments in here.
I texted Eamon. There's now AI generated summary at the top. I said, this is great. I don't have to read your writing anymore or scroll past the AI generated summary. So there's that if you need the quick and dirty of Seth Waugh, but I would not recommend it. It was a good interview.
Can I tell you my favorite quote from it?
What?
My favorite quote was when he was talking about the PIF deal.
Yeah. What did he say?
Eamon asked, do you think division in golf plays out? How do you think? What's your best guess? He goes, I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has. It's complicated. But I've done a lot of complicated things that haven't taken this long. That part of it is sort of indefensible.
It's a good one.
I've done a lot of complicated things that haven't taken this long. I love that.
It is complicated. And, two idiots yelling at a microphone about it. I understand that it's more complicated than that. But it's also indefensible. The circular firing squad and it's just been dysfunctional. Let's just put it that way, really. Good interview. Let's hit the Ryder Cup stuff first. It says my idea for better or worse on interviewing Keegan or asking him to be Keegan. He kind of took a shot, sort of the agent of change at the task force. Because Tiger and I had talked about it. We left Rome. I said, are you ready? He said, I've got so much going on in my life that I'm not sure I could commit. I mean, is that true? Tiger's not really playing golf, but I get he's got a lot else going on. Tiger, it seems like he's in a
simulator game too,
Tiger and I finally came to the conclusion it was best to move on. Think about the Ryder Cup task force. It was create consistency, but also create interesting choices of captaincies. The agent of change, which was the task force, became an agent of non-change because it was the same kind of people. It was Friday Golf Podcast guest Davis Love III.
Hey,
and then Jim,
and then before
Steve,
that,
and then Zach.
Before that pod, DL3 goes, love your President's Cup hoodie. Love that you're wearing a President's Cup.
Yeah, so good. Courtesy of B. Dratty. I love that.
Andy hoodie.
They're all the same generation, all sort of the same person. I don't know. That's kind of a dagger. What is he? I mean, I don't think he intended it, but Jim, Davis, Steve, Zach. What's he suggesting there? They're all the same generation, all sort of the same person. I don't mean that in a negative way. We put younger people on the Ryder Cup committee, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, and they said it'd be great to have a captain that's more relatable. I wrote down everybody that I thought was a possibility, went in the committee meeting and said a few names and said my real choice is Keegan Bradley. There was this pregnant pause, and then all of a sudden the committee members go, oh my God. We never would have thought of that, but it's a great idea, and he's the right guy, and there was immediate consensus. So interesting how they came to the task force, just kind of a dagger at sort of the malaise or the sameness that's set in with the task force, in my opinion. That's how you get Keegan.
I love how they just Keegan I could just totally see this. Like, there's a room of people. I mean, I thought one of the things that was interesting was he was talking about like the challenges of having new board members every 2 years.
Yes.
It's just like impossible to do anything. You're getting them up to speed.
Think about that.
Yeah. Getting them up to speed, then they're done. And everybody wants to put their imprint on their.
Yeah.
So, but I loved like the idea of like everybody sitting in a conference room, kicking around names, and then him having it in his back pocket. Then everybody being like, yeah.
Oh, my. A lot of hours probably spent getting to that point. And everyone's like, yeah, all right, let's do it. On the Ryder Cup while we're here, because I don't know if this is the biggest stuff, but, you know, he basically said, I just think for the players to ask to be paid for it is kind of a bad look. You know, pretty unequivocal about that. If you take any lessons of the last few years, the world is tired of talking about money. Golf was supposed to be playing for a higher purpose, and that's what the Ryder Cup signifies. Because we give 20% of our television rights to PGA Tour already, we are paying the players. We're paying all the players, not just the 12. I think that's something to maybe recall or remember every now and then. So that is just a bad look. You know what, Andy? I thought throughout, you know, Eamon put the screws to him a little bit about like, are you want to be CEO of the PGA Tour enterprise? He's like, I'm old. I don't know about that. It's like, that's not a no, essentially. He never gave a declarative no in the interview.
Well, I mean, why would you?
Totally. I'm not, you don't box yourself in one way or another. Don't be thirsty. Don't close the door.
Oh my God.
What?
PJ just dropped some breaking news and to text with me.
He just said he can't do two things at once, PJ. What's the breaking news?
It felt important.
What is it?
Go for it, PJ.
Noah Khan has joined the Ball Frogs as a limited partner and ambassador.
Sticks Boy
is a ball frog.
He can write his sad little songs about Hideki getting bottled up by Tom Kim on Monday.
Do you think he's going to be in attendance?
Feels like it.
I hope
Feels
so.
like you don't announce that. It's the season of the sticks.
God, what a boon for PJ here.
We'll have to try to get you connected with him, Steve Cohn. We go to the SoFi Center.
I don't know.
See if we can do it.
People from all across my life are tied in with the TGL. I might be really in. I might be pushing my chips all the way to the middle.
All right.
What a
Don't
week
be
for
that
PJ.
easy.
Gets a new coach, a new coach, but an old coach. You
Aaron
know,
Glenn. AG,
for the Lions.
Calls him.
Sorry, is former colleague of PJ's.
Yeah,
it's technically true.
Are you excited about that?
I am excited about that. I'm happy he got a job, and the Jets need somebody to yell at them. So
how about Ben Johnson antagonizing Matt LaFleur, beating him twice in a season?
That was
good.
That was a take.
I love that.
I bet you did.
It's just I think every coach we get, I think it must like tickle the McCaskies pink when they say stuff like that. And I think that it just like, it's like in the like new coach handbook. It's like press conference, make dig at Packers.
I mean,
but the problem is we never beat the Packers.
Yeah, you wake up the giant. You don't want to kick a hornet's nest.
Here's the good news: we have a quarterback that's never lost at Lambeau.
It's good. It's a fair point.
I mean, we beat the Packers twice this year. In my mind,
but in reality, once, but close a second time. Let's get back to Seth Waugh. So he denies the PGA Tour center prizes. A lot about the for-profit sort of elephant in the room.
Yeah, disturbing everything.
People underestimate what putting a for-profit entity into the game is going to mean over time. It's not that one's right and one's wrong, but you go from mission-based to profit-based. It's a different mindset. It doesn't make Strategic Sports Group bad guys. It's just that's what they are, right? That's what they do. When I was sponsoring the Deutsche Bank, I thought of 4 dividends: branding, client entertainment, economic value, the local economy, and the charity. We raised $3 million a year, and I felt good about that. A for-profit may not think about metrics in the same way. You start to threaten the ecosystem of sponsors. It's important to them to raise charity dollars and have economic gain. That may not matter so much to shareholders as it does to a mission-based operation. So that's the backdrop. I wouldn't say specifically that they need to sell. Oh, so that's the backdrop. He's talking about how they're switching from mission-based to for-profit based. Like that really changes things. When he gets to the PGA of America and should they sell the Ryder Cup, Eamon asks him. I wouldn't say they need to sell the Ryder Cup. I would say that every entity in the game has to look at their situation now in a different light because it's no longer 5 families acting in the best interest of the game. That for me is the saying a lot in a short sentence of someone who's plugged in both with the stakeholders and has a prior recent experience leadership. Everyone has to look at their situation now in a different light because it's no longer 5 families acting in the best interest of the game. You've got another entity out there, and the risk of not doing something is important to consider too. So are we about to be in a race to the bottom? The PGA of America is a perpetual institution, like a university. The job of the CEO or president of the university is to make sure it's around another 100 years. What you do financially to give it the best chance of survival, and what is the risk of not doing that? So I won't give you a specific answer on the Ryder Cup as much as saying everybody should be thinking about their strategic alternative, what their assets are, and what's the best way. Man, I thought there was a whole undertone through a lot of this interview of not trepidation, but like, I mean,
maybe not thrilled with the direction of where everything's going.
Yes, or that there's like, there's a time of peace right now, but there's something on the horizon coming for you, and you got to be ready for it. You know what I mean? The whole like the era of 5 families working together, you don't know what you signed up for. There's like a real undertone of internecine conflict or the potential for it, and how that will trickle out and down and up all over the place. Just because the PGA Tour, they might just say, F it, we're going for this. We don't care about this governing body or this event. And it doesn't mean they're going to work out for them. But for me, I may be overreading this between the lines, but I found there to be an entire undertone of like, things have really changed, and I'm not sure everyone understands how significant it has with the for-profit element.
Like an example would be, what if they just gave the middle finger to, the USGA trying to change a rule?
Yeah. I mean, do all these entities become fairly self-centered and look out purely for themselves as opposed to working in conjunction in a way that they kind of have for I'd say by and large a solid benefit for the overall pro game?
Or like work together only when it's beneficial to them, right? Versus, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it also like pairs with his comments about Ryder Cup pay. Like I would never have done it. And then I think his comment was from now for 25 years it was about should they be paid? Now it's just going to be about how much, and that number's just insinuating that number's just going to keep going up.
Yep. So you hit the bit about how it's taken too long. Like I can't believe it's taken this long. It's indefensible. He's kind of asked about Jay. He's like, Jay had a hard job. He did a good job trying to manage what he could. I wouldn't say he buried him but he did bury Liv. There are lessons from Liv, though. The F1 model of better players play more often against each other has created changes in the tour that are helpful. The broadcast needs to get modernized. I don't mean Liv broadcasts are model because they're unwatchable. The third thing is we need to create an audience globally, making some of the signature events international make sense. What does the tour look like? They'll coexist for a year or two because you have to wind things down, but it has to merge, and the DP World Tour has to be a part of that. And because of the Saudis' belief in team golf, you'll probably have some experimental team golf stuff. You'll see if it works. I mean, that seems like someone who knows what they're talking about, providing a general outline for the future. Mm-hmm. Liv can't keep existing, more global, some team element because the Saudis want it, and more DP World Tour. So that's a little bit in there. Disruption on Live. Disruption needs to be one of two things, or hopefully both. You need a better product or you need better pricing. On Live, he says, no way you can say they're a superior product, and they have no pricing because there's no economics. It's not sustainable. I don't care how much money you have. Burning it doesn't feel very good. And I don't see any way out for them. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel where it's going to transform that league. So they need a deal, and the tour needs one as well. SSG, the new owners, they need one. Fandom is shrinking. Sponsors are getting edgy because they've been asked to pay more for something that's less. It's not a crisis, but every week that goes by is like a dull ache. Both sides need a deal, and I think now you have a new administration that's going to be much more deal friendly. Speaking of the presidential administration, pretty alarming, right? I would say, pretty direct on Live. Make the game more efficient, make it sustainable, focus on the sponsors, be respectful, and understand the ecosystem. Again, this whole, he seems to be talking to somebody in something, be respectful and understand the ecosystem. It just sort of illuminates some sort of fear here, I think, for that or concern you might have. Be respectful, understand the ecosystem, evolve it, but don't break all the eggs. Doesn't have the same currency that you're used to. You were designing golf right now, would you have an international and U.S. rules body? Would you have a tour that didn't own its own playoffs or World Series? Would you have an entity of 31,000, own 1.5 of the 5 waterfront properties in the game? It's a good analogy. Would you have a private club be arguably the most influential entity in the game? It makes no sense, and that is true.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But I think he's also saying it could fracture really fast because of this, right? It could, you pull one thread and kind of a lot of it could come apart. And then he closes it with, has golf, Eamon asks him, has longer term damage been done to the fan base that isn't even clear yet how bad it is? I think it's closer to the latter. So agreeing that longer term damage has been done. I don't think it's been fatal damage. The game will survive, but you got to bring fans back. Baseball has strikes, lost a lot of fans and never quite got them back. We build a city every year at the PGA Championship. It's insanely inefficient, right? The only reason that exists is because people watch it. If you don't take care of that, that's what I mean about private equity. Don't kill the goose. The goose is the fans. It's not a financial model that tells you what you should be doing. That's just not how it works. Man, that seems to be a clear line of whatever your private equity financial model is not applicable to the current order of professional golf. That's how I read that. It may be a misreading, but say the fans are the goose. Like the golden goose. And it all exists because of that, not a financial model. And he seems to be concerned that maybe that might get rocked.
I think hearing someone as experienced, knowledgeable, and as inside as him lay some of this stuff out, it is just it's like kind of it's almost like a watershed moment for golf. It continues to be. It's been. And I don't think the last 3 years of this watershed moment have gone, and I think he probably would agree, in the right direction.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I don't want to call it Rosetta Stone, but there's plenty of key indicators of what's happened. And sort of the tension and concern and maybe optimism too. We don't want to just be alarmists from it as well, of what could be and what it might look like. What it may not look like, according to his former entity, his boss, this is an Adam Schupak interview in Golf Week.
Put the recorder down.
With Derek Sprague, the new head of the PGA. And they're at the PGA show in Orlando. Rollback. Not a popular topic. You'd mentioned the USGA rule. It says, I don't know what the recreational golfer or many tour professionals, quite frankly, that want to hit it ball shorter, he said to Schupak. I look forward to working with the USGA, the RNA, and other governing bodies to see if we can come to an agreement that would please our PGA members, recreational golfers at large, and then also this 2028 start date for the elite level and 30 for the recreational golfer. That's even more challenging for the PGA professionals. So already saying it's coming too soon. 28 for the elite, 30 for my PGA pros. We just won't be able to do it. So he says, and then he proposes this hypothetical. I know Adam Schupak is going to be buying dozens of Pro V1s in 2029 before the rules take effect. And our PGA professionals are the ones, the governing rules at the local level, the member guests, the club championships and stuff. They're going to have to be checking to see if everybody is playing a conforming ball. Well, woe is me. I'm sorry to send you into this sort of into the mines
beast
to check balls.
They stand on the first tee in the club championship and say, "Here,
That's some pretty clear line pushback on the rollback too, which I thought we were past that point. You mentioned them blowing through a USGA rule. There's just I don't know. Feels like the rollback could be that everybody holding hands, and agreeing to the rollback is really tenuous right now.
5 families,
and it would be kind of a disgrace if we went back on it. And the OEMs are putting their thumb on the scale. They killed bifurcation, which was probably the right way. Now you dragged the recreational golfer into this, which is, Sprague talking about his PGA pros. And
you dragged the PGA pros into it.
Yeah. And we know who and what killed bifurcation. The equipment companies, maybe one or two specifically. And now it seems like the rollback that is not bifurcation is getting some real pushback from Derek Sprague. And you have some, I don't know what does that mean? These illusions combined. I'm taking them all together. Maybe I shouldn't with Seth Waugh of just people acting more unilaterally. And do we have just like a lot of self-centeredness, race to the bottom in pursuit of what's in front of our face, as opposed to the greater longer-term gain?
I always like to say this. Why don't we just get SpaceX designing golf equipment and, see if they can just make every hole drivable for the recreational player and the pro? Guys love low scoring. Let's run the other way. Let's just make it all about the equipment. Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean,
who wants skill? Who wants friction? Who wants to see people challenge? Who wants to overcome challenges? Let's just get equipment that just overcomes them for ourselves.
If I'm being totally honest and self-centered right now, if they kill the rollback, it's probably good for our business. We can holler about it a little bit more. You can talk about all the problems, these idiots.
But I had a conversation with OEM executive one point saying, Andy, you don't want anything to change because you can just yell about it for the next decade of your life.
Well, maybe we're looking beyond just in front of our face and our own bank account. I don't know.
I think that's the crazy thing about this.
We're not altruistic. We're not heroes. I'm not saying that, but come on.
I think the crazy thing is golf architects are like almost unanimously against this thing. And for their business, a ball that keeps going further is like really good because people need to build back tees. They need to adjust their golf courses. Like
more work.
When the ball goes shorter, there's less work.
Yeah. So
what I've always found interesting is like, is it the only constituent that goes against their business interests in this? And it's probably because they see like how much worse the game gets the further the ball goes.
Yeah. And you've got special interests with their thumb on the scale, quite honestly.
What's crazy?
For-profit companies, OEMs with their thumb on the scale that have bought off media, that have bought off not governing bodies, but like have an outsized influence on pros, have an outsized influence on some of the governing bodies or the 5 families, not necessarily it's an odd stew right now.
What's wild to me is that if I called up the Olympic Club and said, hey, let's host a 100-person outing at the Olympic Club, and I'm just going to bring recreational golfers that are against the rollback out. And they played at the Olympic Club. The golf ball would go 15% shorter because of the sea air, the heavy cold air. You know what? None of them would complain about it and be like, I don't want to play golf anymore.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Some ridiculous comments from the leadership of the PGA of America talking about 28 coming too soon, 30 coming too soon. and nobody wants to hit it shorter. And well, they propose bifurcation.
You literally hit the ball shorter based off the season you play in the. Like if you play in the fall, the ball goes shorter.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that this is coming back up again in public interviews like this, and maybe in not so public rumors. Pebble Field, not released yet, coming out tomorrow. Are you betting that Jordan Spieth will get a sponsor's exemption? It's not public yet, so they haven't released the field list. Do you think Jordan Spieth will get a?
Didn't he say in an interview he was making his first start here?
That's right. He's got a big Instagram post 10 days ago. Committed. He committed to 18. He said committed.
Unqualified, but
he's
committed.
Not invited. Yes. So he'll be
This
out.
is why this tour is such a joke. Have real relegation.
Subscribe to the Friday newsletter for this. Joseph got in the lab and just dropped some freaking bars on this for the Friday morning's newsletter. Like incredible. If you read it and you're Jay Monahan, you'd be like, yeah, it feels like you just had your pants pulled down. It's incredible. So we got an old shot coming on that for Friday. Spieth will be out there. I did get more intel. Speaking of pro-ams, celebrity pro-ams and bigwigs, C-suite on that Amex deal.
Yeah,
someone who works there every year.
Names.
Said the security was like crazy high, much more high with a bunch of aliases. And these CEOs who usually have like some private security had lots of people there. So
the American Express CEO played under the name that's on the credit cards in the commercials.
In their commercials. CF
Charles
Frost.
CF Frost.
I got that. That was his alias from their commercials. So it's not a good thing for them or anybody. But
what a wild situation that you even have to think about that.
So that was the issue at Amex down at Palm Springs. Seems like Pebble is such a high profile thing, right? With celebrities, I wonder if they do that again. Maybe they just have all the private security they had. Other news: Liv's going to prime time in Saudi.
Under the
our
lights.
Time, I think it'll be 6:15. The entire all 18 holes under lights, starting 6:15 local in Riyadh at the quote Pearl of the Desert, as that course is known.
Dude,
and 10:15 Eastern time. So like morning golf here, mid-morning golf.
This is wild.
There's
going to be so many complaints about reading the greens.
Brooks, Rahm, people like that.
There are going to be so many lost balls if they hit it outside the lights.
It's curious. PJ, what do you got? You got a hypothetical?
What if Hatton ends up like behind next to in a light structure? Like that was my first thought. Was Tyrrell has a lot of opportunity for new levels of course destruction.
Sergio.
I mean, there's a lot of temperamental fellas.
This is the site of Sergio's blow up years ago.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite moments of blogging. So that's going prime time. But honestly, credit to Liv, the players, Fox. I don't know, whoever made this happen. Kind of interesting. Kind of sets them out apart for at least a day or a week. And it'll be on during the middle of the day here in America, where you can watch it.
Just out of curiosity, I thought about Sergio, and I just wanted to check back in on something.
Yeah, what about it?
The DMCA happy PGA Tour has still yet to DMCA the video we put up about him. I can't wait to leave the tour. Can't wait to get out of here. Just a couple more weeks until I don't have to deal with you anymore. That is still up.
I love when you check in on that.
The DMCA, everything else, but
TGL ratings were down. Ratings went down to 680 something from 1 million-ish the last two. Expected this, I think, a little earlier. Didn't have Tiger, didn't have the debut night. Full Swing announced. Full Swing season 3 is coming end of February 25th.
Ludwig, first episode.
They said it will include Liv's Bryson DeChambeau. I don't know if that's via cooperation or just because they were at the U.S. Open and he was there. I don't know. I'm not skeptical, but how substantial? I hope it's substantial. Also featured is Ludwig, as you noted, Keegan, Jolie Damon. He's just like the year-over-year sensation. 3rd year in a row. Wyndham for a 2nd year in a row. Finau, Ricky, Hadwin, Minwoo Lee, Minji Lee. So the both brother and sister. Shane Lowry, Rory, Rose, Scheffler, Shipley, Nick Taylor, Sahith, Justin Thomas, Camilo Villegas, and Gary Woodland are among the names listed on the press release. Now, who knows what level?
Personally, am most excited for the Adam Hadwin part.
What about Nick Taylor? I got my Boomy hat here on my desk.
I gotta go check the PO box.
Check the PO
Boomy
box.
hats there.
There you go. And then last but not least on news, the RNA announced today that the 155th Open at St. Andrews will be played at St. Andrews in 2027. So I think it's the 31st time that the Open Championship has been at St. Andrews, the most by a lot. It will continue to expand on that record every 5 years-ish, whatever they want to, increments they want to set. This is the 155th. It's of note.
Do you think it's just every 5 year now?
Could be.
155th, 160th. Yeah. Oh, you can't miss 165.
All the way to 200.
Well, 170 is right around the corner.
250. Yeah. Could be the whole way.
Not that I'm complaining. I just think it's like, well, we just, who decided that that the number 5 was significant? Like, I get the decade, the zeros.
This is too big a question right now.
But who decided that 5 was a significant number?
It's a fair question. 0, 5, 10. I don't know. It's just like a nice cadence.
Because like 5's not the middle. Oh, I guess it is the middle.
Right. It is.
God, I could have almost talked myself into a bad spot there.
As several people note, this is the last men's major, or scheduled to be the last men's major under the current equipment. So, as we just discussed, will that be the case? Who can say? Maybe by then, the 5 families have kind of swallowed each other whole in a war, going to the mattresses and just disagreeing about everything.
And the USGA will have assigned championships till 2100.
That's it for news. Let's do one golf advice at least, because it's Friday. Got a great one. Let me find it here. This is from Michael. I don't know if he wants his last name. What does a golf sicko do about a snake phobia? Andy, Brendan, and PJ. PJ, you're making the address line now. First time, long time, 49, 2 adult kids, no interest in fighting, especially about country club shower water pressure. Is that a thing? I'm a fortunate golfer who gets to play at a number of wonderful places. Unfortunately, I've had a true phobia for snakes since I was a child, and this has stopped me from playing in a lot of places. Wow, that means a real sort of debilitating phobia. Stopped me from playing in a lot of places I otherwise would have enjoyed. I can't even look at a picture in a book or see one on TV.
Oh my God.
I spent my entire medical board certification exam freaked out that the next page might be a picture with a question about envenomation. I assume someone that has been bitten by a snake. I passed, thankfully. Good for you. I've had only one run-in, but it was a memorable one. While caddying after college at an ultra-exclusive Mid-Atlantic club, maybe around the bend from me, for 2 editors from a top golf publication. Who knows what that could be. I came face to face with a coiled copperhead on the path while walking from the 11th green to the 12th tee. My body went into fight or flight, and I fled toward a steep embankment, which caused me to go into full log roll with a bag on each shoulder.
Oh my God.
After rolling to stop about 50 feet down the hill, clubs and gear strewn along my path all down the hill, I gathered myself up physically, but not mentally, and finished the round. Unfortunately, I was so distraught, I gave one of my players a bad read on 13 green, and he hit the putt 30 feet past. Whatever. They're 2 top editors from a top golf publication. They can deal with it. Give them a bad read all you want. Yeah. They get enough free bullshit golf. I play most all of my golf in the north. Yeah, he's a member at some nice places. So this isn't something I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis on the course because he's playing in the north. However, I just got an invitation to a bucket list golf destination, which is crawling with snakes. So much so that they are in the logo. In the past, I might have said no, but I think it's time to face up to the phobia and not let it stop me from enjoying an incredible golf experience in the South. Knowing the situation, I have 2 questions. First, and I know you are not mental health professionals. Thank you. Let's add that disclaimer. But what would you do if you were me? Thank you for letting us know. We've never kind of given the impression we're mental health professionals. What would you do if you were me? Have you had friends or coworkers who suffer the same affliction yet want to accompany you to snake-infested courses? Second, would you let the caddies know at the beginning of the round? My plan has been to tell my caddy he gets a $100 bonus per round if I don't see a snake, and do everything possible to keep me out of harm's way. However, I do worry that if I get someone who thinks it would be funny to play a trick on me and see how much it wrecks me, that this might encourage such a prank. Thanks for the advice and appreciate all that you do. Signed, Present Hazel First, his alias.
Listen, I'm terrified of snakes.
I don't like that either. Yeah, but this sounds like a real mental phobia.
When I was a kid, one of the kids in my neighborhood, the same age, was like super into snakes. Like he ended up getting into like reptiles and shit after college.
Yeah,
and I remember, I think like I had trauma from like I had to like hold a snake. I didn't want to hold a snake. I had to. I've been terrified. This is honestly something I think about with golf courses all the time in the South. I commiserate about this. I am terrified of snakes. I do not want to run into them. If I saw one, I would run the other way. This is not. So I definitely don't have the level of affliction that you have with them.
Yes.
Listen, if you hit the ball off the fairway, you just don't go there. That's generally my rule. Is I am not wandering into the weeds, into the snake hotels, anywhere near a place that I would consider a snake might be residing. Other things, go to some of these places when it's cooler. You know, go to the cold. Say, yeah, I'd love. Say we're talking about. You know, a hoopy batch club is a notorious, like, has like some of the worst snakes like in the world. It's a funny story.
You might not be helping here.
So a funny story. I've been there for years, but I went a few times early on, and one of the instrumental people in the club told me a funny story about one of their members who had like a snake business growing up. Like his first big business was a snake business. And
what is that? What is
so they went down, it was during construction, and they're talking about how the course is going to be designed. And apparently this gentleman turned to the other gentleman and said, "Hey, is it all right if I just go look for snakes right now?" Apparently just like hopped into the woods, and 5 minutes later, like came out, look what I got. Like a big snake he's holding. I don't have this. I'm terrified. Anytime I've been there, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
And the deal, like, one of the things though is if you go at like January, it's too cold for snakes. Where I live and where I run a lot, there are snakes if it's hot. So I just run early in the morning, and I know I'm not going to encounter any snakes.
Use your e-bike when it's hot and kind of roll right through.
I don't do anything when it's hot here. You know, the nice thing is you can do all your physical activity early in the morning here. But the same applies to the South. Just go when the high is like 65 or less, or 70 or less, and the snakes aren't going to be out. They're going to be sleeping. The snakes come out when it's hot.
Okay.
That's my advice.
I feel like you're on the right track. I think you got to go try and live your life. I'm trying to appreciate this phobia and what it does to you. It seems really debilitating. You've gotten a great invitation to a very good place, a very cool place. I think, you take it on, you try to go. I love the idea of you giving the caddy extra money to kind of be on like, look, this is a thing. This is part of the job, part of the round, part of like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's not going to be good if we see a snake. And I think you can pretty clearly convey your affliction. Maybe you're not close with the people, but like you just got a level set straight up with them. Use a business term of art, level set. Like,
level set.
Look, this is not a joke. Like I will like lose it and be done mentally, like shot if you guys mess with me with the snake thing. I think you can pretty clearly put that on the table and not feel too ashamed by it. Like it's not or worried about it, in my opinion. PJ, you have insight? It seems like you're nodding along here.
I think you should feel comfortable enough, like just being straight up with everybody involved about the snake thing. I think you have to just leave it all out in the open and tell everybody. I like the idea of the caddy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I feel like you have to just be very adamant with everybody, and if they're not, like terrible people, I feel like they'll get the gist. I don't think anybody's trying to send you into like a state of shock. I hope.
All right, that does it. I've got like 5 or 6 more golf advices. We'll just have to keep pushing.
You got to do just a golf advice special one of these days.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll do it in Club TFE.
There's too much content right now.
It's January. There shouldn't be any content. Okay. We've got some good ones about fraudulent assistant club pro, slowest players. We got some good ones. We'll bring those up.
Hey, PJ. I want to present a hypothetical to you.
Oh boy.
If Keegan Bradley is 10 feet left of Noah Khan, and they're both just sitting there, and you can talk to one or the other. They're wide open to walk up and talk to him. Are you going to talk with Keegan Bradley about St. John's basketball, or are you going to talk to Noah Khan?
It's a great hypothetical that here's my thing.
Could be a reality.
I would be paralyzed in indecision to the point where I would not talk to either of them. I would not be able to handle that situation.
Is Noah Khan that big a deal, or is just that big a deal to you?
He's definitely that big a deal to me, but he is huge.
I understand. He seems like a nice fella.
He's like, I feel like he's like Posty big. Is he as big as Posty, PJ?
I think he's probably the next tier under. He's probably
tier under. So it's like Taylor Swift,
Beyonce. I feel like that's like
no, Beyonce's not as big as Taylor Swift.
I think it's close.
Who's the other? And then you got like Dua Lipa.
Yep.
Would be in a bucket below.
This is not a conversation.
And then we get down below that would be Posty.
No, I would put Posty and Dua Lipa on the same tier. And then you have like Noah and like Sabrina Carpenter's pretty famous right now. Feel like
she came out she has made one album.
These people just come off the conveyor belt. Nobody even knows. Noah Khan is gonna be singing his sad little songs in the SoFi Center. Brendan
had a Noah Khan song come on the other day.
My shuffle.
Like, man, this is so depressing.
It's like I listened to the lyrics for the first time. That Styx song is a sad one.
Yeah. The
drinking
lyrics are
so cold out and stuff.
They're all like that. If it makes you feel better, they are all the same. The same tone.
A sad little boy. All right, sad.
What's gonna happen when this is the problem though, right? Like where's he go from here? Because his life's not sad anymore. He's like got hundreds of millions of dollars.
Maybe
like
we can ask him on Monday.
Well, money doesn't
buy
happiness.
This is a hard thing. Like you can't write about being sad and depressed and living at your mom's house. Because you're not living at your mom's house anymore.
Well, now it's the prison of fame and money, and what do I do with myself? And where there's all sorts of sad little lyrics you can come up with. Like I thought, this is what I wanted. What if is this all there is? David Duval on the flight back from the Open Championship. That's Noah Khan right now. Okay. I think that does it. Hey, everyone, enjoy your weekends. Have a great weekend. Let's lift this up. It's Friday. We'll roll into the weekend. We'll be back Monday. We will talk to you, I guess. We're going to do Sunday, even though it's a Saturday finish. You want to just do a normal timeline?
You want to do Sunday before I hop on my first red eye of the year?
Yeah, do that. We got to do Sunday for the commies, for my commies kickoff at 3:00. So let's do that.
Sunday morning?
Yeah, we'll do it early-ish Sunday. So. All right. Everyone enjoy your weekends. We'll be back with you next week.